Hello everyone, welcome to Res Snapper and another leaks video. This is extremely exciting. We've now got all of the information about the Asgard cards, and we've got a little bonus extra card as well, which we have no idea when it's going to show up. What we didn't get, what I was expecting to get, I actually even made a thumbnail for it, was the Rivals cards. Marvel Rivals is the December season, and it looks like Second Dinner are plugging the leaks, or at least I should say not putting as much data into the client as they used to, so we're not getting information about future seasons like we used to. It looks like maybe the leaks are just sort of 1 month out, or less than that even, because it's only what, 2 or 3 weeks until the November season, and that's what we're looking at in this video. You can skip to the card that you want to see in the chapters if you want, and actually all of the Asgard cards, pretty much all of them except one, have been changed. And I didn't do a leak video last week because I was in Florida, so that is a big intro. Let's just get on with the leaked cards, and we'll do star ratings of course as well. So Surtur is the season pass card. He's been changed to a 3/5. After you play a card with 10 plus power, this gains +3 power. As you can see, I've given him the elusive, my highest honour possible, 6 stars. So I rate cards out of 5, but 6 stars is what I give the really cracked cards. And that is exactly what I think he is. I think he's absolutely bananas. As a season pass card, that is maybe not super surprising. This is the one that they literally sell for proper genuine money. So yeah, I do think he is money. He is absolute fire. No puns intended. Nah, awful frame break. Yeah, so he's crazy. So some of the synergies, this guy is the biggest synergy for Scar we've ever had, because we haven't really had a reliable way to get to 10 power on a 3-costed card. This is now it. You play something like Cull Obsidian or Crossbones on turn 4 as your 4/10. You play anything on 5, like Arrow, Gilgamesh, anything that can get to 10 power reliably. I mean, you could play Gamora, but that's not quite as reliable. So I would say like Arrow, either anything with a printed 10 power, so Arrow, Gilgamesh I think will be great. And then you basically just absolutely go to the races. In fact, Gilgamesh would be a great one if you've got other cards that have buffed on the previous turns leading up to Surtur. So that could be Silver Sable, who, funnily enough, was the last card that I gave 6 stars to. You play maybe Medusa on turn 2, Surtur on 3, Cull or Crossbones, whatever, on 4. Actually, you could even play a card that buffs as a 4-cost that buffs themselves. I'm not sure who that would be off the top of my head. Couldn't quite be Rescue or Jessica Jones, but they could be in the conversation. So anyway, you play one of them, and then on 5, in fact, actually, you probably could play them, because on 5, you play Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh will get the trigger from either Jessica or Rescue. Is this card finally some good support for Jessica or Rescue? Jessica Jones or Rescue? I might try it. Anyway, then Gilgamesh gets +4 out of that, right? So that makes him like a 5/13. Crazy. And then anyway, your Surtur by this point is like, what, 11? A 3/11, and then you play your Scar on the final turn along with whatever else you're doing. Eliath would probably be my primary recommendation. You could play on Eliath on top of the Surtur and it gets rid of their Shang-Chi or whatever. And Surtur ends up being a 3/13. He's absolutely insane. Let's move on to the next card, which is Frigga. Frigga has been changed again from previous leaks. She is now a 3/3. On reveal, add a copy of the last card you played to your hand, if able. So, this was not my idea, by the way. I didn't come up with this. Sorry, not the card. The synergy that I'm about to talk about. Daken. I did not think of that. I read that on Discord, but I absolutely love that synergy. She'll also work... Well, I should talk about why she's good with Daken before moving on to other. So you play Daken on 3. You can play Frigga on 4, along with something good. Like I said, Silver Sable is basically my favourite 1-cost in the game. I think she's the best 1-cost in my eyes. So you play that, whatever. Anyway, you get the copy of Daken. You then play the copy of Daken on turn 5. and then you use Modok or whatever, Carnage. However you want to destroy or discard the Muramasa shards, you're getting rid of 2 of them. So the Duckans, of which you've got 2, go from 4 to 8 and then 8 to 16. Like, I absolutely love that synergy. Not only that, but any card which benefits from being duplicated. So a card that grows in power. So I've got Venom as another synergy here. That could be really key. If your turn 1 and 2 was X23 and Wolverine, your Venom is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Quick maths. You've then got 3, 7 Venom in your hand, which is super, super great. So very strong. Hell, let's cope a little bit here. Could we do something like Magic? Something on 4. I don't know. Black Panther on 5. Frigga on 6. And then we've got a second Black Panther that we can play anywhere. Could be interesting. I don't know, guys. There's lots of opportunity for Frigga. I've given her 4 stars. But I think that the sky is the limit with her. Truly, there's so many cards that would be good with her. Like, even just getting a copy of Scream, I'd be happy enough to do that. So, just any deck where you like playing, where you have a particular Talisman, especially if you've got a 2 energy card that is particularly strong. I couldn't quite think of any for this video. I mean, US Agent would be a great one if you've got like what Cozy calls a small soldiers style deck, where you don't have any cards that are high in cost. So you've got Sages. I mean, this with Sage is ridiculous, because you could play Sage out early. Even you could have Wasp, Yellow Jacket, get out the Sage literally on turn 3, and she could already be like a 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Your Sage could easily be 10. You then got a free 10 in your hand. It's crazy. She's really good. I might even be coming under the cost limit on 4. It is 4 stars, 2 lower score. I don't know, it remains to be seen. Let's move on to Maliketh. He's a 4/6. On reveal, add a 1, 2 or 3 cost card from your deck here. It reveals at the end of the game. This is extremely interesting. As you'll see, I've given him 3.5 stars. So I'm just checking if my wife has left work yet. She hasn't. So I don't need to put the salmon in the oven yet. It is glazed with orange, soy, ginger and garlic and chili. And it's being served with rice and green vegetables. You didn't want to know that. Yeah, I've given him 3.5 stars. I'm not 100% sure about this guy yet. Listen, the power that he's outputting is definitely strong. He's 4/6 himself, and he's going to pull something from your deck. Listen, if that's a 1 cost card, it's going to be at least 2 power. Like, realistically, it's going to be at least 2 power. So, he's a 4/8. So, that's just very good. If he pulls out a 3-costed card, I've given an example here of Gladiator. He is, what, a 4/14? Tremendously good, as long as whatever you're pulling from your opponent isn't, like, too crazy in that particular example. But what if you pull Grandmaster? Grandmaster reveals at the end of the game, moves your Maliketh. If Maliketh is the only card there, maybe you're playing some ongoing stuff. Anyway, maybe it moves the Maliketh to the middle and pulls another card. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting how Maliketh is pulling more cards out of your deck. Would this go well in a Thanos deck, pulling more stones or pulling one of your mid-range cards in that deck? Potentially interesting. I mean, if it is pulling a stone, maybe you've already played Thanos, and this is giving you extra insurance that your Thanos is going to get to the 20 power granted by Power Stone. So there's definitely lots of interesting stuff with Maliketh. My brain has barely scratched the surface of what is achievable with him. And again, maybe I'm a little bit low on him being 3.5 stars. Definitely going to need to ponder on this one, but I think it's very interesting. Let's move on to... Now, this actually isn't a leak. This isn't because, well, it is a leak, but it was leaked like 2 months ago. It's Fenris Wolf. My opinion hasn't changed on Fenris Wolf. I think they're tremendous. I'm not actually going to talk about it in this video. You could just pause the screen if you want to see the information on it. I just still think he's really, really good. But it's not a leak from today. Let's move on to Gorr. Again, technically not a leak from today because he was leaked previously, but his power has been changed. He used to be a -3. So he's now a 6 -1 ongoing +2 power for each on-reveal card in play. I still think he's tremendous. Previously I gave him 4 stars. I did wonder about maybe kicking him up to 4.5 or 5. What is that on the window? Like a lady... Oh, it's a ladybird. Cute. Yeah, I did wonder about giving him a little bump in my star rating, but actually I think 4 stars is still perfectly fair for him. The key synergies I've given for him, or suggested for him here, are Hawkeye and Snowguard, because these are cards which generate themselves lots of on-reveals, so you have a way of getting lots of on-reveals onto the game board. And of course, he does count ones on your opponent's side, so even the Acid Arrow would count. In fact, the only one that wouldn't is the Pym Arrow. So yeah, lots of ways to get on-reveals. I mean, if you ever take screenshots of the game, just look at one of your random screenshots. You will find that in any given game, you've got 8 plus on reveal cards. This guy could be cracked. If that's 8, he's got 16 power, -1, so he's 15. That's 615, right? That's just absolutely excellent. That's if you're not playing cards towards him. He's going to be a similar card to Blob, one of these new cards which is like, or Red Hulk, one of these massive cards that can win a location by himself. And so with that in mind, if you only need to win one other location and you've got 5 turns to do it, you could just concentrate on the highest power on reveal cards you can find, or you can get into your deck. So I think he's going to be really good, and then you just amp up, you know, all of these on reveals. I mean, listen, you're going to be able to get to 10 on reveals, or you can probably pretty easily get to 7 or 8 on reveals on your side. You can definitely do it, especially with cards like Hawkeye and Snowguard. Then you factor it, maybe they're playing a couple, like 2 or 3. That gets you up to, what, 11, so it's like 22, so it's like 21. The ceiling on this guy is so big, so I'm very excited for Gorr the God Butcher. Now let's move on to the cards where we don't know if they're going to be Season Pass cards or Spotlight cards. We don't know how we're getting these. I would speculate... Well, actually, we do know what one of them is. One of these 2 cards that we're about to talk about is definitely a Deadpool's Diner card. We do know that Deadpool's Diner is coming back in November, so one of these will be the reward for that. And if I were a gambling man, which I am, I would bet that Laufey here, wow. So I'm so sorry that I keep looking at my window, but like just creatures that just keep flying into it. I nearly had a damn eagle or kite fly into the window here. I apologise. If I was a gambling man, which I am, I would say that Laufey is the Deadpool's Diner card, because he is absolutely excellent and big and exciting. I think the next card that we'll look at is a bit more reserved and would strike me as a bit more of a niche card, and probably one suited to maybe High Voltage, the brand new game mode. Anyway, Laufey, I've given him 5 stars. He's a 4/5. On reveal, steal 1 power from each other card here. So he steals power from all of your cards and all of your opponent's cards. And how is this not just straight up huge power creep on Spider-Woman? Spider-Woman is a 5/7 who inflicts 1 damage or power, energy zapping, whatever you want to call it, on your opponent's cards. So it could be up to 4. That puts her, the potential power limit, as like a 5/11. In this video, we've already talked about like Gilgamesh coming out as a 5/14. So yeah, and Laufey, however you want to pronounce it, the correct way, whatever that may be. 4/5. Let's say you're inflicting 3 damage, whatever, stealing 3 power on your opponent's sides, and you've got nothing else there. Straight away, he's a 4/8 in power, but actually in terms of affliction and total power, or what's the word? Total sort of difference between the power on your side and the power on their side. You're actually doing like 4/11 worth of differential there, right? So that's just absolutely brilliant. That's so strong. But let's say you've got a couple of your own cards there. He grows even higher. And if you've got Ajax, so you're benefiting from inflicting your own cards, maybe that's worthwhile. Or hell, maybe you've got just Luke Cage in there. He'll be a great card to play at the end of the game. Maybe they filled up the location, so you get extra power that way. That way he's a 4/9, but inflicting 4 if they've got a full location. So he's the equivalent of like a 4/13, is that right? So that's really good. And yeah, this just seems like really good support for Ajax and the Hazmat deck. This is more infliction, so definitely pushing that. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yes, Zabu has recently been changed. So this is another very strong 4-cost card. In fact, this season we seem to have had several very strong 4-cost cards. And by the way, I think the artwork is incredible. So yeah, Laufey. Also, he's kind of vaguely similar to Cassandra Nova if he does come in Deadpool's Diner. That's kind of interesting. But let's move on to the other... Oh, yeah, by the way, we don't actually know what series... I put that he's a Series 5 card. We don't actually 100% know that. So let's move on to King Eitri. I think it's Eitri. This is the guy played by Peter Dinklage in Avengers Infinity War. Again, I've put on this that he's a Series 5 card. We don't actually know that. If he is available through High Voltage, as I suspect... I would presume that High Voltage is a monthly game mode. I'm not certain, but I literally just spilt that on my thumb because I was so eager to drink it. I do apologise. We don't know if he's a Series 5 card. I think he's going to be in High Voltage. He's been on the screen for like 5 minutes. I should actually read what he does. He's a 1/2, activate, draw a card that didn't start in your deck. I've given him 5 stars. God, he's so good. He's so good. If this truly is a card that we get via High Voltage, this is crazy. I mean, that is just me purely speculating, but he's so strong. He is an absolute staple with Beta Ray Bill. Absolute staple with Thanos. I don't think you're ever playing a Thanos deck without King Eitri. 100% not, because the fact that he's an activate and not an on-reveal is huge here as well. You could get him down on turn 1, and then if you are playing that Thanos deck, just another way of cycling. Instead of you having, what? There's 4 stones that draw cards. So this is sort of like a 5th stone. It's a 5th way to draw cards. So it's a 5th opportunity to cycle through your deck. That's so important. That little fractional improvement of consistency is really going to help out Thanos. So I think that's really cool. But hey, let's talk about Beta Ray Bill. This is absolutely huge for Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill, and beta, whatever you want to, again, pronunciation vibes. However you want to pronounce it, Beta Ray Bill doesn't always feel great because you're playing him so late. It doesn't give you much opportunity to draw the hammer. Now, of course, if you've got Jane Foster, absolutely happy days. You're absolutely laughing, especially if you've gone that classic Asgardian curve of Thor on 3, Beta Ray Bill on 4, Jane on 5, Odin on 6. You're absolutely laughing anyway. But hey, in those games, you don't always draw Jane Foster. You don't even always draw Beta Ray Bill on turn 4. If you draw Beta Ray Bill on turn 5, you feel absolutely gutted because realistically you barely play him out. You're not going to draw the hammer just on the final turn from 1 draw. Well, actually now you can, and that is absolutely huge because, oh man, I love this so much. I love it so much because I really like Beta Ray Bill, but I just barely play him because I find that he's not consistent enough. I'm never drawing Jane Foster, so yeah, King Eitri, super cool. And that, I mean, that's the first few. Obviously, any hammers he works well with, but this will be good in Arishem probably as well. Maybe card draw is just such a powerful effect. So yeah. Again, my mind has barely scratched the surface with him. Finally, though, let's talk about the little sort of bonus card that we got. Again, I think we have looked at it in the past, but we didn't have artwork. I don't think I gave it a star rating, and we didn't talk about synergies. But we do now know what he's going to do, unless they change him, of course. And we got the artwork. So Lasher, he's a 2/2. Activate. Afflict an enemy card here with negative power equal to this card's power. We also don't know how we're getting this card. It obviously looks like he would have fit with the Symbiote season. I mean, the fact that he's got artwork and the fact that we know his ability, he couldn't possibly be a surprise for the anniversary, could he? You don't think he could possibly be a surprise present this month that they've not announced? I am suspicious now. I don't want to get my hopes up, guys, but this card is ready to release, and we are currently in Symbiote season. I could be coping hard here. Anyway, sorry, I just like basically daydreaming that we're going to get this card. Anyway, so yeah, afflict an enemy card here with negative power equal to this card's power. So the great thing about this guy is that you can boost his power, boost him up with things like maybe the other symbiote card, Agony, which you can play on curve, by the way. So Agony on 1, Lasher on 2, and then you can activate the next turn, and you're dishing out 4 power, 4 negative affliction to a card on their side. That is absolutely sick. The slight difficulty there is that Agony would theoretically need to predict where they're going to play. They usually play in the left location on turn 1. Though, guys, spoilers, I don't. I always play in the middle, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, I love him. I also just love buff decks in general because, I don't know, it's just fun. Like, would Gwenpool work with this guy? Get him down on turn 5, activate him on turn 6? It might happen. There's other ways to buff him, of course. Hulkbuster, Fastus, Okoye, Nakia, Shuri, if you're so inclined. Shuri could be an interesting one, guys. If you've truly hand buffed Lasher enough that you can play Shuri on turn 4 and then Lasher on turn 5 and then throw out his affliction on 6, it could, stranger things have happened. Anyway, I love him, and I love the artwork as well. Absolutely love the artwork. Anyway, that is it. That is the end of the leaks. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. What do you think of these brand new cards? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.